Ursula von der Leyen have been quick to speak about the special relationship between the UK and EU. But is that relationship still special? Well, to answer that question, let's bring in Professor Wyn Grant from Warwick University, political science and international relations expert. Professor Grant, thank you very much for joining us live here on France 24. We heard Boris Johnson say that Britain had never really been in line with what continental Europe wanted to be also moving forwards. Is that true? Has there always been a point but in that relationship where viewpoints were not aligned?
I think there's something in that. I mean, there have always been tensions because Britain is a very liberal country with a long historical relationship with the United States. A lot of people, particularly on the right of politics, feel very close to the United States and the kind of system they have there, and they feel perhaps more difficulty with the notions of solidarity and so on, which one finds in mainland Europe. So I think there's something in it. But whether Britain can have a special relationship with Europe in the future is open to question.
If we look ahead, how do you see that relationship going? Are we going to see perhaps further détachement or a return to closer collaboration at some point in the future?
Well, I think there will be an interest on both sides in closer collaboration in the future, but whether that actually happens depends on the balance of domestic politics in the United Kingdom to quite a large extent. I think it also depends on other factors outside Europe, relations with Russia and so on, and the sorts of problems that these cause. So there are a lot of imponderables here, which make it very difficult to forecast the future. But I think that probably both sides will recognise they benefit a great deal from working closely with one another on a whole range of issues.
And finally, if we look at the situation also from a political point, Boris Johnson now is going to have to contend with this deal. He said very clearly he's happy with it. It's the best thing for Britain. When the text does become available, is the Prime Minister still going to be this kind of hero to the British people, or are people going to say, well, maybe that's not really what we signed up for?
Well, with a text of this length, the devil is always in the detail to some extent, and there's already been a certain amount of grumbling from organisations that represent people in the fishing industry, and there are obviously people on the right of the Conservative Party who may feel they haven't got everything they wanted, but they probably feel they've got a large part of what they wanted. It's good to have a deal rather than have no deal, so I think the amount of immediate political trouble he'll face will be relatively limited.
Professor Wyn Grant of Warwick University, thank you very much for that analysis.